You're listening to the Spiritual Highways podcast with Leigh Ann and Michelle.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome. Well, I've got news that I know you know, but I wanted to share.
I know.
With
Share
everyone.
it.
I'm so excited. So I've wanted to put a new feather in my cap, and so I am going to take a course to be a yoga instructor.
I'm so excited.
I am pretty excited. I think it's going to work really well for
Absolutely,
us.
it will
work out for many different reasons, and I'm looking forward to this new adventure.
Me
for
too.
sure. For sure.
I'm excited for you.
Me too. Thank you. So what's new with you, ma'am?
Well, I got a crash course in speaking up for myself.
Oh, so because you had a problem with this?
And well, I kind of do, I think sometimes, and for my mom. Mm-hmm. And for one of my boys, and I didn't have to be aggressive. I just had to be assertive. And sometimes that's a thin line. Well, and it makes you feel a little raw. Like you feel vulnerable when you like jump out like that. And then on the back side of that, like having to like cap this girl back in, and you're like, oh my gosh. And so I don't know, like been a little snarky this week. And one of my clients, she's like, who is this Michelle? I love her. And I'm like, oh, I mean, she could stay if you want her to stay. That would be cool.
I'm okay with that.
I know. I'm like, I'm walking a fine line here between like la and peace and rainbows.
Oh, well, so your what did we say it last week? I think it was your halo's cockeyed.
Yeah,
it's
my
okay.
halo's a little cockeyed.
That's
now.
okay.
But yeah. So, but I definitely like all joking aside, I definitely think. This is my takeaway for this week for everybody on a serious note is being an advocate for your loved ones, because I had to do that for my mom. She had an ER visit and a hospital stay, and I really had to speak for her and on her behalf and ask the questions and make sure details didn't get missed, because a few did, and initially, and it ended up all being okay. But what broke my heart in that situation, waiting and sitting there, was there are people that don't have that. And
True.
I was thinking, what if I was in another city? What if I was at work and I couldn't be there? Like, so, if you can't be there, have a chain of command, I guess, of who's going to step in and be an advocate for a loved one in a situation, because that was just a little wake-up call for me.
That makes a lot of sense. It's a good.
That's a little detour in our plan for today, but that's what happened in my,
Hey, no, I think that's very important, because it's something we take for granted when you've always had that, and you assume that everybody does, and that's not the case.
That's not the case. No. It's not.
And that's definitely a safety issue.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that you were able to catch that.
I know.
So
I know.
That's great.
But it's March, people.
Yes. Are you wearing the green?
Not quite yet.
Well, I think all of March.
I have green.
Oh, I don't have green.
Wearing of the green, and I'm the one in the green.
Oh. Nether regions.
Well, okay,
bit. Leave it to Leigh Ann. Sorry.
Too much information. Moving along. Okay, so we're in March.
Yes. March Madness.
People, March Madness. We are going to do a little thing. We're going to slow it down a little bit and manifest our March.
Yes. Well, we've given everybody so many different little
topics.
Facets. Oh, yeah. Like plenty of things to do. We've given everybody a lot of to-do lists.
Like little tidbits of information. Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to high level kind of going over where
some of them. Yeah. We're going to tackle some of them today. And we want you to spend the next week focus, find the ones that really speak to you and maybe work on those.
Right. I think so.
I think so. And what I have learned in this week also, the ones that you want to avoid sometimes should be the ones you tackle.
Well, obviously the ones that you avoid are absolutely the ones that you need to tackle, because that's the one that you don't want to acknowledge.
Right.
Trust me, I get that. And sometimes they will make you scream and holler and cry and sit in the bathtub
so
for 2
scream,
days
holler, and cry
if you need to.
And tackle it anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I just read something this week that said it said you got to go through it in order to get to the other side. It would have been better if I could remember the actual quote, but you can't go around it. You've just got to muster through it.
I love your Leigh Ann isms.
Yeah, well,
I got it. I'm getting it. I think I know
you're
what you mean.
Excellent translator. Now I'm gonna make my own dictionary. Michelle says I make up my own words.
You do. I have another friend that does too, and maybe I could merge y'all into one dictionary.
Hey. Whose rule is it that it has to be this word? I mean,
Just Merriam-Webster, but it's no big deal.
Who died and put her in charge? Okay, so
Okay,
right,
supposed to. That goes to our first topic.
Right. Absolutely. Nice little segue
you're supposed
there,
to
sister.
follow the
Yeah.
standard accepted dictionary.
That's right.
For English. Don't worry about it. Make up your own.
Well, I'm pretty good at this one. I've kind of mastered because, if I'm supposed to do it, chances are I'm not.
I'm going to check what's behind curtain number 2.
Yeah. So, this is my number one go-to because this is very easy for me. But there's a lot of people who struggle with this. Like my mom, she the other day
she got in a supposed to timeout.
Oh, absolutely, because she was feeling lots of guilt over sitting in her PJs, and I'm like, okay, and who is really gonna care? How is this affecting you or anybody else at all? So where's the guilt coming from? It's from yourself. So I told her she was gonna have to sit on the couch and only get up to go to the restroom or to eat until she no longer felt guilty. And you tell your kids, you're going to sit here in the corner and think about what you did and, until you're sorry. Well, okay, you're going to sit here until you stop feeling guilty because I don't care if you do it. I don't,
right.
So, and really, and I'll touch on this for a half a second, but really the things that you think you have to do, you really don't have to do them, and in the time frame. So really investigate what it is that you have to do. What are you having to do?
Right.
Or are those supposed to do's? Dun, 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 dun.
Right.
Because those should equals guilt.
Yeah.
So,
if it's a should statement, it's a guilt statement.
Right. And you know what? I want to leave on that note is when you take the have to, I have to do this, and you say, oh no, this is kind of a choice. Life is better when you do these things. But if you don't do laundry for 2 days, really, it's going to be okay. But it takes it's easier to do things that you want. I have a choice. I can do the laundry or I don't have to. When you have that choice, it's so much better than somebody.
I'm gonna do the laundry.
Yes, I'm choosing to do the laundry.
I'm so proactive.
Right. I don't have to do the laundry, but I'm choosing to. So it kind of empowers you to be able to choose as opposed to have to.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
So next,
getting the shoulds and the supposed tos out of the way frees up a little time for you to look for signs in your life that are letting you know what you should be doing and where you're going.
Right.
I mean, it's all about getting the guilt out of the way and freeing up your brain to receive the good stuff.
That's right. And part of that is staying in the present moment. A lot of times I think we sit there and we focus either on our past or,
the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Goes crazy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, out of control.
And one of the things that I guess this is a big lesson I learned this week is, I kept looking back at some things that I had done in the past that were wonderful. It's that made me feel amazing. For instance, as an example, the trip that I went on in October, it was life changing and it was amazing. But I felt recently I've kind of felt maybe I'm looking at it differently. I kept looking back at that saying, I want to have that feeling. I want to recapture that feeling instead of that was that feeling at that moment. Let me build on that and let me make this moment that I'm in just as incredible. I kept comparing it to how I felt then. And you can't, that's
instead of letting it just be a blessing that propels you forward.
Exactly. Because I kept finding myself we've talked about ordinary versus extraordinary time. That would have totally been an extraordinary time. And so I'm I want to feel like that again. And I really fought with that this week. And so, like I said, try to take those special moments and really embrace them for what they were in that moment. And then build on your reality and your present right now. Make that be as spectacular, and not worry about what's in the future or what happened in the past. But when you do that, it kind of clears up the way for you to realize what you're doing, and our whole point in our existence and is to find your soul's purpose, and you know that when it feels good,
Right.
you know,
When it feels right, when you feel connected.
that's right. And it just is, it's not to say it's not hard work, because you're always going to have to be challenged, but it's that thing that just that you just feel you don't have to fight, and it's not this
Well, if you're constantly hitting hurdles,
exactly,
it's I think a way to let you know this is not the direction. Like, rethink your position, rethink your direction. Maybe you need to turn left or turn right or just weave just a little bit. But if you're hitting hurdles, it's time for you to stop and reassess. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't go in that direction. It just might not be the time.
excellent.
And so it's just a matter of being where you are, paying attention to the signs around you, and like we talked about one of the episodes where, I kind of stepped back on something, and while I stepped back, it worked itself out. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
when we stop trying to control,
right?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's so true. Yes.
So control what? Me?
Yeah.
Who?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah.
I think that's an excellent advice. Very, very much. Yep. And then realize that you can have negative and positive emotions, and it's okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to accept those feelings and the emotions for what they are. But that's what you don't always have to change the outcome or the outlook of someone else's opinion or their standpoint.
Well, you can't be
things.
Responsible for that,
right? But you can accept that that's how they are, or you can accept that okay, I'm going to be angry about this, but once you accept it, it opens the space up for you to let it go.
Or figure out why it makes you angry.
That's even better. That's true.
If you can figure out why is this making me angry, why is this repeatedly...
Those triggers, we just talked about that last episode.
Repeated triggers, then it's easier to figure that out and let it go and move on.
That's right. And when we talked about this last episode, when you've beat that trigger, when your response changed.
Right.
When your response changes, then you say, oh, and that feels
I'm so
good.
grown up.
It's like, whoa, I just feel like, I
adulted so much just now.
That's right. You feel empowered.
It is very empowering.
But another one is...
This is one of my favorites.
Me too. Listening is loving. This is one of the ones that, are on the bottom of my to-do list, because sometimes my mouth overloads my behind. But I've been trying since we did this episode, but listening is a form of loving.
It is. And if you be mindful if you are listening to hear or listening to respond, because listening to hear is the loving aspect of listening.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's huge. And
2 ears, 1 mouth.
That's right. I like
Use
it
in proportion.
I say I like it. I really don't like it, but
You want 2 mouths and 1 ear.
It's just part of my
that
DNA.
would make you look a little awkward. So
yeah, well,
let's stick with the 2 ears.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But one of my things from that episode in particular was that my takeaway was sometimes I didn't recognize those people that listened, as I didn't give them enough credit, yeah, for the impact that they had for just listening. And I needed some vocal. Like give me some.
Or you
thought.
wanted.
I thought that's what I wanted.
You wanted vocal.
Right.
But that's not what you needed.
No. And when you realize that listening is loving, then it really changes how you look at other people.
Absolutely.
So I think that's great.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. All right. The next thing to work on.
Oh, this is one of
Michelle's
my
favorites for sure.
Judgments and opinions, people. Let them go.
Yep.
It just takes up too much time. Mm-hmm. You get in arguments about this is my opinion about this, and you shouldn't be doing that. And good grief, I'm tired just talking about it right now. Mm-hmm. Just you don't need to have a judgment or opinion about anything, really.
Well, you
can, but I mean, if you give it life, and then you have to have a discussion about it, and you got to get somebody else in on it, and if they don't agree with you, then you got to about argue about that. Like, oh
Right.
my gosh, it's like this
But see,
whole tumbleweed of crazy, and there's nothing productive that comes from it. There's nothing empowering that comes from it.
but we're not saying not to do a good debate. Like, I love a good
debate,
like
I get it.
love to
I
rock
get
the
it.
boat.
I get well, okay.
Like, I
well,
do.
Now you're on my list.
No, but in a good way. Like, I like to play devil's advocate.
Sure.
Like, okay, well, let me just throw this little scenario in the mix, and just to see what people's it's not to force my opinion on anybody, because
Right.
like I'm not that competitive. Like, I just there's very few things that I feel that passionate about that I'm going to take the energy that it takes to convince somebody to believe me one way or the other. Okay, it's just not. And I talk to dead people, so that when
You've
I
already
accepted
given-
that,
yeah.
Well, when you've given when I've embraced that, I'm kind of like, okay, I can't worry about what anybody else thinks, obviously. So, but I do like a good debate. But I think that it comes with being respectful and saying, okay, well, that's your
Right.
take on
well,
it.
and then if you're going to have a healthy debate, you got to go back to listening is loving.
Exactly.
You don't talk to be heard. You talk to also hear. Like,
Yeah.
well, this is how I see it, and well, oh, how do you see it?
And you know what's-
and sometimes you learn from people. If you see where they're coming from, you're like, oh, I never looked at it like that. Interesting. Mm-hmm. So that's a big one for me.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just, there's a lot of just wasted energy.
Well, too, you have to, in your line of work, you really, I wouldn't imagine, could be that vocal, or you.
But I wouldn't be anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't
That's not
occur
you.
to me.
Yeah.
No, it's not me
That's
at all.
not your personality, but I could
It's
see
not.
yeah.
But I do get to listen a lot, and so I learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very grateful for that, because I get to see all sides of things and really go, okay, I like the way that looks, or whatever. So I do. Listening is loving. I don't know. I learn a lot in a day.
You listen very well. Like,
Some days not. I don't know.
I think you are a great listener.
I don't know.
Well, and with that is, whose burdens are you carrying is the next one.
Yep. Not my monkeys, not my circus.
You talk about me.
Well, I hear things.
Like, all right, here goes
No,
circling
that's
wagon
a
wheels.
thing. That is a new thing. That's not
Okay.
an old
Wait,
thing.
what is it again?
Not my circus, not my monkeys, or not my monkeys, not my circus. I don't know. Like, it's not you're crazy. You don't have to worry about it.
Right. But you know what? We often pick up on other people's
We
burdens.
do, and we carry them around, and we worry about them, and they're not even ours.
Right. Now, it's good to like worry and be concerned and have concern.
Yeah.
But my thing is always like, I don't want to hyper focus on it, because then I don't want to manifest it.
Right.
I don't want to create it my reality, but it's very easy to do, like, get so consumed with, how so and so doing, or that you're taking it on to carry
Internalizing it, yeah.
You have to like.
Well, you can care without wearing it.
Right.
Yeah.
And we
or
talked
carrying it.
Right. And there's ways to get rid of it. And there, like we suggested, doing a salt bath, and there's different, you can pull up our episode on being
Cleansing.
an empath,
Yeah.
and it tells you all about how to clean those energies. But really, and seeing what things are you carrying, what things are bothering you, and are they really yours? Like, if you can't directly affect, like, or change the outcome, then chances are you really don't need to carry that.
That's and accept the things I cannot change.
And that's hard. I know it's very, very hard.
Yeah.
But it is something that when we call it by its name, and when you know what it is that you're working with, or you say, okay, this is what I have, the problem that I'm having, it makes it a lot easier to change or to work on.
You're right. And sometimes once you name it, you let it go.
Absolutely. It's kind of like being
almost
sick, like,
instantaneous,
okay,
yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with me. Oh, you have strep throat. Oh, okay, I can deal with this. All right, we're
Right.
good. Or I have a virus. All right, it'll go away.
Right.
There's an end to it. So
Right.
I think that's big. Then recognizing your blessings.
Those are so important. Okay.
Yay, yes.
This happened this week.
Okay.
And okay, so it was just a crazy week. Life happened a little extra this week for us. And I had to get stuff washed for work, and I got up in the middle of the night to throw it in the dryer. It's like 3 a.m. And then I had to be back up again at 5 a.m. to get up.
Wait a minute. You got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to switch your laundry?
I did, because I needed it for work.
And what time? Wow.
I mean, I didn't set my alarm. I was just going to handle it at 5.
Oh, okay.
But I woke up and I'm like, oh, while I'm up, I'm going to go throw it in the dryer.
Wasn't listening and loving at that moment.
No, I probably didn't make myself clear. So I go back to sleep for like another hour and a half. And when I wake up, my husband he said, are you looking for the stuff in the dryer? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, it's in the hamper over here. I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm going to fold it. He goes, I already folded it. Y'all, at 5:30 in the morning, and he took something I started and finished it for me without even, I mean, I was so full of gratitude. I don't even think I thanked him fully. So thank you, David. I had the best day. I had the best day at work. I was so happy. And because it started with recognizing that little blessing, because Grumpy Michelle, still, she hadn't had her coffee. And I'm like, well, you probably didn't even fold them right. Whatever. And I got to work. And yes, he folded them right.
Wow.
Yes. So he not only folded them, he folded them right. I had an amazing day at work.
Well, it's funny that you say that. You just triggered a thought when I was having this when I was punishing my mother. One of the things that she said to me was, I do a lot. So much for everybody. She says, but it's those simple little bitty things that that I ask that doesn't get done. And I'm like, okay, well, give me an example, because I'm wanting to learn here. And she's like, I wanted pictures of my kids. Like, well, and I looked at her, I'm like, that is like the key to making you happy, is like, she's like, yeah, it was really important to me. Now, she's been asking me, now, what's terrible is I still haven't done it, but I'm sorry, Mom. But
listening is loving, Leigh Ann.
No, I listened. I internalized. I just didn't do anything.
Okay, is there an action word on our list here?
Maybe we should
put it at the end.
Yeah, do this. I guess this is what this is. No, manifesting your March. I need to manifest those pictures.
Yes, you do.
But it was something that, like, that little bitty thing. Here I am thinking, now she did.
You thought it was something like huge. No,
she asked me like a while back. She really wanted the living room, the hallway painted. Oh, I had that done. Okay, I pulled out the paint, spent a day and a half repainting the hall, like this big thing. But, printing pictures, that would have taken me like...
Oh, that's just terrible to go on your app and submit the picture. What?
Exactly. So it is those little bitty, but that's recognizing those little blessings that you not only have for yourself, but your other for others as well.
Yeah. So that's so true.
Yeah, I never. So it just made me think about that, and it really reminded me of what I need to be doing.
Okay, Mom, she'll have those pictures printed this month. She's got to manifest her March.
Wait, didn't we say something about calling phoning a friend? Can you do
that? Yeah. Let me pull out my Walgreens app and upload your photos.
But I guess the end note would be rest, recharge, and reboot.
And cover your mouth when you say that.
I was trying to amplify it.
Rest, recharge,
and reboot.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
don't forget to do that.
Yeah.
And a little bit a day. Remember, you're like a phone battery. Yeah. You require a little bit of charge every day. Maintain the life of your battery.
Yes. And when your battery's getting low, when you start getting snippy, like,
hangry.
Yeah. Like, like I could tell there was something wrong with my mom whenever whenever she'd fold my clothes. Like, I didn't see the love in that folded T-shirt.
You're like, uh-oh.
Wait, I'm not doing something right. Better go do something. So, but, it's recognizing those little moments that you have to recharge. So, yeah. I know we threw
a lot at you, but we want you to stop, pause, take stock, and actually work on some things.
Yeah. So,
and we're going to work on some things for ourselves, too.
Lord knows. I'm the poster child of, a work in progress. So, I've completely gone backwards,
That's okay.
In life, in general. Like maybe I can work. I wonder if I'm going to age backwards.
Yeah, good luck with that, Benjamin.
Yeah, no, I'm no Benjamin Button, that's for sure. So, but no, I think that it was important to, it's I guess the first quarter of the year is almost, well, this will be the end of it. So
this month will be the end of it. Yeah.
So if we manifest all these things, then I feel like in April, right for spring.
Yeah.
And look, y'all are in trouble because spring is my time of year. It's like I get so.
You're like Pepe Le Pew jumping around.
Oh, it's kind of crazy. I'm serious. Even when I worked for a mortgage company, and I had my office was next to a window, and I'm telling you, it something about spring makes me kind of crazy. So
that's so funny.
Yeah. Good luck, Michelle. Sorry about your luck. Yep. So yeah, let's manifest our March and get ready for April. So. Well, we hope that, we went through it fast, but we hope that, we brought things up so you can go back and retouch on them.
Yep.
And
if you have questions, email us.
Yeah.
If you have ideas, email us. And
look,
we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Just remember that the one thing that you're avoiding out of this list of what we talked
there.
Yeah, that's where you start.
Or maybe pick an easy one so you feel like, I'm tackling it. And then go to the one that you...
Yeah.
We'll
have to touch base, and I'll have to work on the hard ones. We should put follow through. Do follow through.
Follow through. Okay, I'm writing it right now in my invisible ink.
Yeah. So follow through with that. So
bye, y'all.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Spiritual Highways podcast with Leigh Ann and Michelle. Catch up on past episodes at spiritualhighways.com, on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, and more.